Hi, Assalamualaikum to Madam Afida and all my fellow friends. My name is Marzatul Arena as the first presenter. In this presentation, we will explain about the Local Government Ordinance 1961 in Sabah that related to function and financial power. Before we start, I would like to introduce my group members. First, Nurdiana, Muhammad Farizal, and the last one is Ivy Clarice. To begin, let's start with the introduction. Firstly, I'm going to explain about definition of ordinance. An ordinance can be defined as an authoritative order or guide and was formed by a political authority. In this ordinance, it has stated the role of authorities. Each authority that was established under the provisions of this ordinance shall be a permanent body corporate and legally capable of prosecuting. Besides, the local authorities in Sabah was established under the Local Government Ordinance 1961, which started operating on the 1st January 1962. The last but not least, in Malaysia, the position of local government is the lowest in the system of government, but they have the power to impose limited taxes such as gate taxes.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Muhammad Farizal bin Muhammad and I will present about 2.0, 2.1, 2.11 and 3.2. 2.0 provisions that are related to its functions. In the Local Government Ordinance 1961, there are many provisions that are related to its functions. Few of them are regarding public places and streets in urban areas. 2.1 Public place and streets in urban area. According to Section 38(1) of the LGO 1961, all public places such as parks, playgrounds, and any other open public space in any urban area are controlled and should be maintained by the authority for the general public or any resident of an urban area's comfort. Based on subsection 3, by controlling means, the authorities have the right to temporarily restrict the use of those public areas whenever it is in maintenance, for example, repairing some of the playground equipment. As we can see here, even though the damage are not applied to all equipment, but the authorities still have the power to restrict the use of the playground for safety purpose. This applies to all open public place in urban area. In exercising the powers of subsection 3, the authority may do things such as make streets, construct bridge, discontinue any streets, and widen any streets. However, this is only possible with the approval of the minister and in accordance with any approved scheme as defined in the town and country planning ordinance. Once permission was given, the authority have the right to acquire in any inhabited land for work purpose. This is, of course, should be discussed based in the land acquisition ordinance first. 2.1.1 Recovery of cost of new streets in urban area. When the authorities have acted to lay or make roads, streets, bridge, and more for urban areas, the authority may obtain the cost of materials or funds to make the construction of roads and bridge from the owners of premise adjacent to or in front of it. For example, we should provide funds or taxes to those authorities because they have made roads and so on. All such manufacturing costs shall be paid by the owner. Once the works are made and completed, according to the respective parts of the premise must have a final agreement decided by the said authority, provided that the authority may not ask the owner to pay a large amount. For example, each owner shall pay equally to the authority in accordance with the prescribed conditions. If the authority wish to make improvements to roads or bridge, it must have the consent of the minister under Section 38, and further assessment will be made as soon as the roads bridge are completed. If the owner of the premise area is not satisfied with one of the assessments, the owner can appeal to the High Court, whose decision is final.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nordana Muhammad Saleh and I will be presenting about the first provision that is related to its financial powers, which is obligatory grants from public revenue. According to the Local Government Ordinance 1961, Part 7 Financial Provision Section 56 Subsection 1, they shall be payable by the government to the authority on the 31st of March every year. The revenue of local government can be obtained from a few local sources such as taxes, licenses and permits, rental fees and charges, and fines. As for taxes, taxes are the most common source of revenue for local authorities. In this case, taxes that are imposed on any property of the local authorities are called assessment taxes. For example, anyone who is operating their business using any government's building has to pay these assessment taxes. All revenue obtained from this tax will be used in improving the public health and environment of the city. These are some of the services that the Sabah Local Government and Housing Ministry would like to improve, hence is why there is an increase of tax collection. Next, licenses and permits, on the other hand, is another major source of revenue for the local authorities. How? By using the power given by the Local Government Act, which is the power to register licenses and control trade. For example, every single fee obtained from registering licenses will be distributed to the local government as a revenue. This includes licenses from the food industry, business industry, entertainment industry, and opening new stalls. Other than that, rental is a fee charged to people who rented any local government authority's property. Usually, the rent must be paid monthly, and it is a normal thing to see in the business industry. For example, hawkers renting stalls and business owners renting shop slots for their business. On top of that, there are assets belonging to the authorities that require users to pay a higher amount of fees. For example, auditoriums and conference rooms. These are some of the assets that contribute a big amount of revenue to the local government. As for fees and charges, the local authority can impose a fee for service charges. The most prominent example is the GST. The public has to pay for GST almost in every transaction that they have done. For example, whenever we pay for service in a family health clinic, we will be charged for GST too. However, it does not contribute a huge percentage to the revenue of local authorities, and in fact, it only contributes less than 10% of their revenue. That means it does not charge a high fee to the point that it burdens the poor. Lastly, fines are also one of the obligatory grants from public revenue, but in spite of that, it is not a resource that is confirmed. This is because fines are only given whenever someone did offense such as littering, doing illegal business, and illegal park. Hence, the outcome from this source is not stable. For instance, in Tawau, people should always put their parking card in visible places in their cars, because if not, the authority will fine RM30 ringgit and higher if people refuse to pay. So that is all for me. Thank you.
Now, I will be explaining about the second provision that is related to its financial powers, which is power to raise loans. A two-thirds majority of the members present and voting at the meeting should allow the resolution to obtain the approval of such loans, the amount to be approved by the minister. Its conditions are subject to the provision of the ordinance in accordance with current law. The Minister of Finance may obtain public revenue or the monies appropriated for the purpose to grant loans to any authority. To obtain such a loan, the authority may impose terms and conditions that must be complied with. Any financial liability to the government incurred by the authority for the purpose of obtaining land or any work shall be deemed to be a loan granted by the government. The Minister of Finance shall take into account in considering the appropriateness of granting a loan to the applicant authority, taking into account the amount and debt which must be paid by the authority and the adequacy of the guarantee for its repayment. For example, the minister should consider the authority wishing to make a loan. The loan is proposed to benefit the public to justify borrowing from government funds. Every loan granted by the government under this ordinance shall be subject to any prior charge or hypothesis which shall by the first charge on the revenue and assets of the authority obtaining the loan.
Hello, my name is Ivy, and now I will be talking about the developments in Sabah. The first development is the road development. Minister Barubian has discussed three important road development plans for Sabah and Sarawak. This plan is to improve people's connectedness and support economic development in both states. One of the key road developments is the Trans-Borneo Highway from Kalabakan in Sabah. It is said that this Trans-Borneo Highway held a ton of potential for Sabah's future success in a variety of fields. Next, the second development is rural development. The federal government has committed 1.13 billion ringgit to the Sabah government for rural development through the Ministry of Rural Development. The minister also mentioned that the Rural Development Policy 2030 will help to ensure the citizens live a prosperous life and have access to various physical and social facilities. We can say that this project is a success because there are a total of 824 participants in the course. The third development is Sabah government received a 5.85 million ringgit donation to fight COVID-19. This donation will be used to purchase health equipment facilities as it is indispensable, including nose and mouth masks and hand sanitation. According to Chief Minister Dr. Seri Panglima, when the school year resumes, it will be required to provide masks and sanitation to students. Therefore, this fund will definitely be used as best as possible to ensure that the necessary health facilities can be provided to all citizens, especially to students. The last development is public parks will be upgraded. All public parks in Sabah will be upgraded by the Ministry of Local Government and Housing to bring comfort to the people. The reasoning for this is that recreational areas are vital to the community since exercise is necessary to preserve good health. Therefore, the upgrading of these recreational parks is taken into account as it is a good thing for the community. Lastly, with this upgrade, people no longer have to rent expensive locations for leisure activities. Moreover, there are a lot of environmental programs in Kota Kinabalu. For example, KK Wetland Mangrove Experience Program, Environment Voluntary Work, Mangrove Conservation Experience Program, Handcrafting and Wise Use of Mangrove. These programs that I've mentioned are located at the Kota Kinabalu wetland, and it is suitable for people of all ages ranging from kindergarten children through primary, and university students as well as adults. These programs increase environmental awareness by educating local residents about the importance of wetlands conservation and traditional mangrove uses such as charcoal manufacture, mills, cores, medicines, and timber. So that is all from me. Thank you for listening.
To conclude, It is very important for the local authorities to make sure that every task or power entrusted to them must be utilized well to ensure the well-being of the community in Sabah. It is because if the local authorities use their power in the right ways, it will improve Sabah's economy and development effectively and efficiently so that Sabah can become a developed state just like other states in Malaysia. Thank you.